For 12 years, the European Parliament's Committee for Foreign Politics have had a German chairman. And Elmar BROK is probably the same name from Monday when he will be re-elected chairman. He has been a fascinating character, knowing almost everything about EU politics when it comes to foreign politics. Maybe it's interesting now, where a new parliament has gathered here for the first time in Strasbourg, to hear what does he think will be the challenges of the European Parliament, of the EU perhaps as such, on foreign politics. Elmar BROK, you have been the chairman of the Foreign Committee for 12 years. With all your experience, what are the challenges of the new parliament when it comes to foreign policies?
I think we see now in the Ukrainian crisis that we do not speak with one voice really. We have no really joint Russia policy. We have no joint energy policy. And I think we have to become much better in such questions. We are better than 20 years ago, than 10 years ago. It's always a question, glass half full or half empty. But I think we have so many weaknesses that we do not call our potentials into the debate.
When you are mentioning the energy politics, what are the chances of cooperation between you and the committee within the Parliament for energy questions?
I think we have to see that energy policy was always an economic important question, but energy policy was, since the beginning of mankind, also a question of security. And here we have to find a proper coordination, which means diversification of energy supply, the question of cooperation with other countries where we can get our pipelines through, but also a question that we, like the Polish government has proposed in an energy union, that we have together negotiation capacity in that question, and in order to go jointly to Moscow to negotiate the prices.
And what are the chances of a good cooperation with the Commissioner or Secretary for Foreign Affairs, or whatever we shall call Mrs. Ashton at the moment? What kind of cooperation do you foresee there?
I think it's very much important that our internal energy structure is in a good relationship to our foreign energy policy. For example, if we can have organized it that the supply which we get on gas and oil can only flow reversely, so that if Russia, for example, stops the supply for one country, the other European countries can supply such a country with Russian gas. I think that would be very helpful, because Russia cannot stop the supply for the whole European Union, because then Russia is bankrupt. They rely to 66-70%.
But does Mrs. Ashton come into the picture there?
No, we are already on a way to organize such pipeline network. It's partly it's there. In electricity, we have it more or less already ready. And I think these are important internal organizational questions which will give us a stronger role that we can answer threats for our energy supply.
You mentioned Ukraine, Russia, energy problems. How about the nearest countries in the Middle East?
I think that it would be important that we increase the supply from other countries. We have done it from Norway now, but I think it's...
Yeah, but I'm not talking about the energy. I'm talking about simple threats to democracy, whether they are there or not, in Syria, in Iraq, wherever we look at the moment.
I think it shows that it was done a wrong policy. I believe that it was totally wrong, this democracy-building type of policy the Americans did there. The Iraq war was one of the biggest mistakes in the last decades. And we have seen now the mess. We have now people who are even more dangerous than Al-Qaeda organizing power there. And I think this shows that we have to have much more joint policy in a very early stage that such developments can be stopped, and it means also that we have a clear policy towards Qatar and Saudi Arabia. They give the impression that they're on the western side, but organize fundamentalists in the other countries with their money. And I think just because of our problems with Tehran, we have supported them. And therefore I hope that until the 20th of July, Iran is ready to make an agreement that they give up the policy of building nuclear weapons, which would make it possible to have to Tehran a much better economic and political relationship, would be helpful also to come to a better situation in the whole region.
Do you include Turkey in your concerns?
Turkey is an important country. It is for Europe now even more important than it was in the time of the Cold War. You have just to look on the map. Therefore, we see now at the moment these internal developments with not a good feeling, and we have to see that they move backwards in the questions of the rule of law, the independence of justice. And I hope that it does not go so far. I think to have Turkey in our camp, not as a full member, but in our camp, it's of the utmost important.
But are they even ruling back their ambitions towards a membership of the EU?
I think there is the possibility, as the mandate for the negotiations say, if in the time of the negotiations and of the ratification process full membership is not achievable, we should go to the highest possible bindings. And I think that should be now the goal, that we have a closer relationship, that we come to a free trade area whatsoever, go towards something like a Norwegian solution for Turkey in order to have them in their camp, meet their interest. And I think that would be very helpful.
Final question. Do you foresee it to be more easy or more difficult to have a common opinion on foreign politics with the new parliament, how it's built up now?
I think we will have in the European Parliament still the force to go for more united foreign policy. And I hope that the member states have understood the development in our neighborhood shows that we need such a common policy. And we have to see that the Americans will not look of our interest so much anymore. They are not to rely so much anymore on the energy from the Middle East. And because of that, we have to see that we have to look also in our own interests, and that we have to develop our common capacities for that.
Thank you very much.
I thank you too.